had to follow Mayor Booker giving a speech before. I usually don't like having to do that. So I said, just don't make me follow Mayor Booker today. And so they make me follow Candace, which is worse. But I'm very honored to be up here introducing our next guest, who a few years ago when I told my friends I was going to move from New York to Newark to start a school, and one of my friends said, if you're going to Newark, you have to meet this guy, Shavar Jeffries, who he had gone to college with. That guy never stops talking about Newark. And so when I met him, that was absolutely evident. He's very proud of his city. He's very proud of the people in this city and all the great things that are going on in the city. However, he also knows that the opportunities for kids in this city are not sufficient, and that was also immediately evident. So when I met Shavar, he said, absolutely anything we can do to start a great school in this city, he's on board with. And from there, at that initial meeting, he became our founding board chair of Team Academy, and then helped us grow out Team Schools. So that you know a little bit about Shavar's background, as I mentioned, he's a Newark native, and from Newark he attended Duke undergrad and Columbia Law School, where he was the editor of the Human Rights Law Review, which was the beginning of a long career in human rights law. From there, he came back to Newark, working first as a civil rights lawyer at Gibbons, a downtown law firm, and then as a civil rights law professor at Seton Hall Law School. After that, most recently, he became counsel to the Attorney General of New Jersey, which was bittersweet for us at Team because it was a huge honor, obviously, but he could no longer serve on nonprofit boards. So we bid him farewell, and we're happy to have him back. But while he was there, the accomplishments of the Attorney General's office are pretty profound. They increased by 30% the number of kids graduating from Juvenile Justice Commission. These are kids who've been in prison before. New Jersey became the only state in the nation recognized as a model site for its juvenile rehabilitative programs for youth who've been charged with crimes, and reduced kids in secure detention by over 40%. The Attorney General's office, or New Jersey, had one of the best rates of settling cases through foreclosure mediation in the country. They led New Jersey's prisoner reentry programs, reducing recidivism by 26%, which Shavar led those. And they relaunched the Affirmative Action Litigation Unit to pursue impact cases. So the common theme here is that Shavar believes deeply in the inherent genius of all kids, and that kids just need a chance. And for kids like ours, that means that they just need great schools to realize the genius you see in this room. For kids like the ones who served in the AG's office, it often means that they need a second chance. So it's my great honor to present our founding board chair, a great, tremendous warrior for kids in Newark and across New Jersey, who's made a career of providing first and second chances for kids across the state. Please help me welcome Shavar Jeffries.
Thank you very much, Ryan. I appreciate that. I still remember that day 8 years ago when we first met, and what he didn't tell you was I was the first board member, so that so he didn't have a lot of options for founding board chairman, and I'm happy he did because it's been my blessing to be a small part of what has been created here over the last 7 and going on 8 years now. And I think back when I met Ryan, and he described his school. He described his vision for a school that would prepare young people to attend competitive 4-year colleges and universities. He described the vision of a school that would prepare young people to understand and live out their ethical obligations to serve their community. And he talked about his vision for a school in which students would be taught every day that there are no shortcuts and that there is no substitute for hard work. I was instantly sold. I believe that deeply. I think it's obvious, but it's not. In a place like Newark, we don't always act as if it's obvious that our children can achieve anything that any human being has ever achieved. And that's what this school is all about. And it's amazing for me to think back from that time we had lunch 8 years ago. And at that point, the school was Ryan and myself. And then a few months later, there was a handful of teachers, 80 kids. And now, 7 years later, we've served over 1,200 kids and have a staff that is untold. I remember we'd have our board meetings, and we know everybody by name, we had kids, and now we have an institution. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a blessing to have. And the school has grown and flourished, in my view, the same way our students have, through rolling up our sleeves and working relentlessly. We have succeeded also because our school begins by believing. It begins by believing that our children not only can, but ought to achieve at the highest levels that the human mind can imagine. And as I touched upon earlier, I really think that should be axiomatic. It should be the kind of belief, kind of like gravity, the kind of belief that is known so fundamentally that is not subject to serious question, and that people just act upon it and react to it habitually without even thinking about it. Folks don't, by and large, need to be convinced about gravity. They simply act on the basis of it. Most people I know won't jump off a roof because they know, unless they want to do harm to themselves, they know what's going to happen. They just react to it. They don't think twice about it. It's just an obvious fact. And that's how team approaches our kids, with an undying belief in their ability. So when one believes that Newark children ought to graduate from competitive four-year colleges and universities, neither 8th grade graduation nor high school graduation is time for ticket parades. And not even college graduation itself, frankly, is a time for knockdown, drag-out celebration, because this is what you expect. I'm also a big basketball fan, and I've been known to drop a few jumpers in people's eyes, and including Mr. Hill from time to time. And I remember a story a few years ago from the Detroit Pistons, who at that time was one of the top teams in the NBA, and they had been to the NBA Finals multiple years in a row, and they had just won the conference championship to go back to the conference final. And a reporter asked one of the players, a player named Richard Hamilton, why the team wasn't really celebrating. They had just won to go back to the championship, and for many, this is regarded as the kind of pinnacle of what it means to be a basketball player. And he said something I remember to this day. He said, this is what we do. And what I think he really meant by that is not only did he expect for that to happen, that was part of his identity. That's who he was. That's who his team was. That's what they did. So it was just expected. It was something that should have happened. It was supposed to happen. And that's where we come from in terms of education. Our kids, each and every one of these kids should be graduating from competitive 4 years of college and university. That's non-negotiable. And we have to treat them in that way. We have to push them toward that goal. We have to expect that of them. And if we do, we know what's going to happen. It's not rocket science. This is not a surprise. I believe from the first day I met Ryan that we would achieve great things because I knew about the potential of our kids. I knew if we simply set high expectations for them and required them to work hard and be nice, I knew this would be the result. So I look forward to going as many college graduations as I can over the next several years because I know it's going to happen. And I look even further down the road to seeing these kids come back to the city of Newark and serving our community and giving the next generation of kids the opportunity that they've been given. So thank you very much.